Well, we're now in the centre of Bratislava in Slovakia. I think it's a really nice place. And the weird thing is that it's only an hour from Vienna, which is weird. It's a really nice atmosphere. People are very friendly here. See there, this old... This is a funny old car. And look, you've got a CD player. An old car like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bratislava. Bratislava became the capital of the Slovak Republic in 1993. Today, there are around 500,000 inhabitants in Bratislava, while the overall population of Slovakia is slightly above 5 million. The city is situated on both banks of the Danube, just 5 kilometers from the Austrian border and 15 kilometers from the Hungarian border. Vienna is the capital of Austria. It is no more than 60 kilometers away. In front of us, you can see the main square. On the left side, you can see the old town hall, the most significant non-religious building in Bratislava. You can see a statue of Napoleon with his hat over his eyes. He stands here and quietly listens to private talks of visitors coming to sit on this bench. Behind the statue, there is the French embassy. The trustee of the royal estate of Magyaróvary, Baron von Pucherfeld, owned the palace. It was the smallest Rococo palace in Bratislava and was built in the 18th century. On the right side, you can see Maximilian's fountain. There are 2 ideas about who the statue atop the fountain might be: the legendary knight Roland, the patron of city rights, or the King Maximilian. It was the first public fountain in Bratislava. It was built by an order of Maximilian II after his coronation as a Hungarian king, following an enormous fire in 1563. There used to be a shortage of water in the town, therefore lots of houses were destroyed. Maximilian was the first king crowned in Bratislava. The beautiful yellow building behind the fountain was built at the beginning of the 20th century in Jugendstil. At the present, the building is the seat of the Cooperativa Insurance Company.
Ez a fő cél, a fesztiválokat, meg mindenféle kulturális dolgokat.
The local wine was also popular among kings. Matthias Corvinus took part in the wine tastings. Napoleon II, the son of Napoleon Bonaparte, and Maria Luisa took part in one of the wine tastings. It was through the coronation of Carolina Augusta, wife of the Emperor Františkánske I in the year 1825. The favorite wine of Maria Teresa was Frankovka. Within the region, Rheims, Riesling, Green, Veltlin, Tramin, Frankovka, and Silvan are among the typical kinds of wine grown here. Man at work, so anybody can see that someone is working down there the whole day. We call him Chumia, a staring man. They say that he used to look under the women's skirts, but today he doesn't have so many opportunities because girls and women wear trousers much more these days. We are passing the Street of Lords. Here on the left side there used to be the fortification. It was demolished in the 18th century on order of Queen Maria Teresa, so there was enough space for building some palaces here. The most important aristocrats, most of whom were regional government representatives, used to live on this street. On the left you can see a big portal with 2 figures of muscular Atlantises. The Esterházy Palace was built in the 18th century. Joseph Haydn, the Austrian music composer, one of the Viennese classicists, worked for Count Mikolás Esterházy as a bandmaster. He performed several concerts at this palace. Mikolás Palffy was the initiator of the glory of his family. He was the administrator of the Bratislava Committee of the Hungarian country. The building on the right is called Bibiana. It is an international house of art for children. On the left, you can see a memorial to the Holocaust, the House Under the Star of David. It was built in tribute to the Jewish victims of the Holocaust. It is situated here because a Jewish synagogue used to be here. It looked like the picture on the wall you see behind you. Tragically, the synagogue was destroyed to make room for the new bridge.
Ez a templom volt itt régen.
The beautiful yellow house under the small church on the left side is called the House at the Good Shepherd, which was built in the Rococo style in the 18th century. After its reconstruction in 1974, a unique exhibition of old clocks was settled here. This great cathedral on the left side is called St. Martin's Cathedral. The church was built in the Gothic style during the 14th and 15th centuries. During the period of 1563 to 1830, it was a coronation place of Hungarian kings. There were 19 kings and queens crowned here. Maria Theresa was crowned in Vienna as an Austria-Hungarian empress, and in Bratislava as the Queen of Hungary in 1741. The crown on the top of the tower commemorates the coronations conducted there. The royal crown, a gilded replica of the Hungarian royal crown, weighs 300 kilograms and rests upon a square-shaped 2 meters long pillow. The spire is 85 meters high. He studied at the General Seminary at the castle, where he decided to codify the first standard language of Slovaks. His work, Philological and Critical Dispute on Slovak Letters and Grammar, became a fundamental work in linguistics, which paved the way for Ludovic Stur's work. On the right side, next to the pharmacy, you can see Chaki Palace. It comes from the 18th century. A crown on the top of the roof was a sign of aristocrats. Until 1919, Bratislava had been known under several names. In Avatine Bavarian sources, Bratislava is recorded as Brasla Vesburg. That name dates back to 907 and comes from the name Breslau, a sire who lived here. Later, Germans changed the name to Pressburg. Names like Pressburg in German, Pozsony in Hungarian, and Presporo in Slovak remained until 1919, when Bratislava became the city's official name. All the mentioned names are of Slavonic origin. In front of the palace, you can see the Birds Fountain. Once upon a time, it used to be a place where horses, dogs, and birds could drink water. Today, drinking water is flowing out of the fountain, so that anyone can refresh themselves. And sometimes, when there are children's celebrations in the city, they can drink lemonade there. Beer is not available, unfortunately. Therefore, the gate is richly decorated with military equipment. In 1762, the 6-year-old Mozart performed a concert there. He was in Bratislava just one time with his father. Today, it is the seat of the Austrian embassy. Franz Liszt started his career in Bratislava. As a 9-year-old boy, he performed a concert for the local aristocracy here, who then decided to support him in his studies so that he could develop his incredible talent. On the left side, we can see a pink building that was previously a priory. This street is called the Canonry Street, Kapitolska. It is one of the oldest streets in Bratislava. It was owned by the Catholic Church, and in 1204, church representatives moved from the castle to buildings on this street due to security reasons, since the church representatives often had visitors, and the guards were not able to guarantee the security of the royal family. On the left side, you can see St. Martin's Cathedral. It has 3 chapels. In the tower on the first floor, there is a chapel built by Czech Queen Sophia. Sophia was the widow of Czech King Wenceslaus IV, and also sister-in-law of Hungarian King Sigismund of Luxembourg. She spent the last years of her life in Bratislava and died in the monastery of the Sisters of Order of St. Clare in 1425. At the corner of the church on the left side, you can see a small tower, and next to the tower, you can see a small cube that used to be a toilet. Everything was flushed away into the moat that was in front of the fortification. You can also see part of the old fortification here on the right side. The wall was doubled and had a palisade and a moat. Kings for around 300 years. The first coronation was performed here in 1563 and the last one in 1830. This coronation road witnessed 19 coronations of Hungarian monarchs, 11 members of the ruling Habsburg dynasty, including Maria Theresa, and 8 royal wives. On the right side, we can see a Baroque gray house. That's where the executioner used to live. Executions were carried out in front of the gate or in the square, and they were usually public. The executioner was not responsible only for executions, but also for cleanliness of the city and for the Cartesians. The city executioner was paid from the profit generated by fancy houses. In the past, people were afraid to go down the street out of fear of the executioner. Even so, there were still people who dared to go to the executioner's house to buy the clothes or the hair of the executed people, or a piece of the rope that they were hanged on. They believed those things brought them luck. In 1468, Bratislava gained from Matthias Corvinus the right of the sword. It was the right to sentence people to death. The execution was performed usually by a sword. Besides murder, theft, robbery, lying, arson, playing dice, raping a virgin, bigamy, sorcery, and other crimes were punishable by death. From the 4 towers originally built, this is the oldest and also the last one that has remained. Its base part was built in the 14th century, while its octangular upper part, with the clock and the Baroque roof, was constructed in the 18th century. The municipal defense wall system is best preserved at St. Michael's Gate. The tower is 61 meters high, and its upper gallery is 52 meters, offering a magnificent view of the old city. The guardsman lived in the tower. He guarded the town and surroundings. Using a trumpet, he announced fire, various events, and the arrival of enemies. The guardsman also operated a clock situated on the tower as the wide courtyard in historical sources of information. In the 18th century, a rich brewer named Mr. Specht brought it, and by his order, a luxurious manor house was built there. Its last owner, Count Mirbach, bequeathed the palace to the city under one condition, that the city put a gallery there. The city met this condition, and the house has been used as a gallery since 1975. Thanks to the family of a Mayor Jakob, who played an important role in the history of Bratislava. The Františkán order came to Bratislava in the 13th century. It was of the mendicant order. The Františkán church, consecrated in 1297 by King Andrew III and high clergy, is the oldest existing church in the city. In the 16th century, an earthquake heavily damaged it. During the era of feudalism, a part of the coronation ceremony took place here, when Hungarian kings knighted a selected number of aristocrats to Knights of the Golden Spur. It was an act of gratitude for their loyalty to the monarchy. You can see the monastery right next to the church. The Franciscan monastery dates back to 1420. It has been rebuilt several times. It played an important role in the history of the town. In 1526, after the Hungarian army's defeat at the hands of the Turks, nobility met in its monastery to elect Ferdinand I of Habsburg as king. Through him, the Habsburg family ascended to the Hungarian throne, where it stayed until 1918. Now on the left side, you can see a church of the Jesuits. It was originally a Lutheran church, constructed in the late Renaissance style in the 17th century. According to the monarch's wishes, the church was not allowed to resemble Catholic churches, have a tower, or a presbytery. In the 17th century, there was a wave of anti-Habsburg uprisings in Bratislava. Hungarian nobility opposed the Austrian court's ambition to form a central Habsburg empire. At that time, the Lutheran Church was by far the largest in Bratislava.